Hello everyone and welcome to Beer Basics. I'm Matt, this is Tom, and you know us from First Sip. We want to take an opportunity to talk about some of the terms that we use often on First Sip that if you're new to craft beer you may not know. One of those terms is hops, and hops is one of the four main ingredients in beer. There's water, there's malt, there's yeast, and there's hops. So, Tom, tell us about hops.
Yeah, so hops are obviously a flowering plant that we have here in front of us that are used to flavor and add bitterness to beer to offset some of the malty sweetness from the malt, give you a balanced beer, but also give you a lot of the flavor. A great spectrum of flavors can be added just using different varieties of hops.
So Tom, how do brewers go about using these flowering plants in the brewing process?
Yes, there's different types. We have the fresh hop here, which you see in the fresh hop beers that harness that freshness. And we have a pelletized version that's much more economical and more utility based. But basically, brewers are adding hops at three basic stages to the brewing session. Right away, you get the bitterness. So that's less about flavor and more about that earthy bitterness that balances the beer. Around the midpoint of the boil, you're adding hops to develop flavors. And towards the end, it's more for the aroma. And that just has to do with how long it's actually boiling in the wort. Breaks down those chemicals to different stages, and you can ease that out to get the different flavor components. And then, of course, after they're done brewing, they can add them back to the beer in what's called dry hopping. Which it's not boiled at all. You're just adding it for purely aroma reasons, which can really kind of elevate a hoppy style beer with the aroma.
So in short, hops are used for bitterness, for flavor, and for aroma.
That's correct.
So Tom, you mentioned a few of the flavors that that brewers are using hops for. Tell me how different hops impart different flavors on the beer.
Yeah, so just like maybe an heirloom tomato or different types of your favorite produce, there are many, many different types of hops that create different flavors, and they're bred and grown to achieve those flavors. And that could be from a piney, resinous, dank kind of bitterness. You get citrus flavors from grapefruit, orange, lemon, zestiness. You can get floral flavors, very perfumey, kind of delicate, light flavors like that. Even into some of the newer school hops are developing more tropical fruit flavors.
Mm-hmm.
You get mangoes, you get passion fruit, you get those smooth, aromatic, juicy flavors. So there really is a myriad of flavors that you can get from hops. And that comes all the way back to the farmer, developing the different strains, crossbreeding, and developing what flavors the brewers are going to ultimately want to extract for their beers.
It's pretty amazing what this little flower can do for creating flavors in beer.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us today on Beer Basics as we've talked about the spice of beer, hops.